in 92. The ones we'll root for and cry with, both for their successes and their failures. Tonight, these are the times that build tomorrow's champions. Barry Tompkins with Kathy Johnson on the floor of the Marriott Arena. And Kathy, I have to think there's a great case of nerves going on behind us. Yes, this is festival gold tonight, but these are also the Junior National Championships, and that may even be more important.
It is the biggest meet of the year for these juniors. It will give them their national team ranking, as well as help select them for international competition.
After the compulsories, which count for 50% of the score, with tonight's all-around competition, Kim Zmeskal has almost a 0.5 of a point lead on the field. But the field places 2 to 7. It is just very much up for grabs.
Well, it's a pretty secure lead for Kim, as long as she doesn't make a mistake. But even if she does, she'll be right up there. But this is going to be the fun part for the spectators. Only 0.375 separate second from sixth place. So the battle right here is really for the silver and the bronze.
And Bella Caroli, of course, he's got his six-pack. They are all in it. Well, down the road in Norman, they are running and tossing and putting and jumping.
Career in terms of growth and experience.
Well, the U.S. Olympic Festival has really helped me by giving me a great experience in a team competition. Because I was from Altus, a very small town, and a very small program, I'd never really competed in a team aspect. So it really prepared me for the Olympic Games in Seoul and competing in a team effort and just knowing that I was one of the best gymnasts in the United States.
Everybody has a special recollection of Seoul. What's your most memorable moment?
Oh, there were so many, but I must say the competition was probably my favorite part. And I think back, and all I can think of is training and the competition. The competition was excellent. I really enjoyed it.
We've talked so much about Bella's girls, his 6 or 7 little proteges who are about 13 years of age. Who would you pick out of that group that maybe might go on to become the next Kelly Garrison?
Really, the only one that I talked to was Shannon Miller. Of course, she's from Oklahoma, and being from Edmond, and I just moved to Edmond. So she seems that has the right talent, the desire, and the motivation is all there, although I know that there are many out there. It's just a matter of that consistency in the next couple of years.
How important was coaching to you?
Well, I do enjoy coaching, and I travel a lot from time to time with clinics, and I will be traveling between August and October giving gymnastic clinics, but I don't plan to open a gym too soon, not in the near future, but hopefully maybe along down the line.
Lots more questions to ask. If you got a few minutes, please sit tight, all right? We'll come back. Okay. Kelly Garrison, as we continue our coverage, gymnastics action. She'll sit here. Kathy Johnson's on the floor, along with Barry Tompkins. They'll call it when we come back.
And this is Amy Scher. First person, first rotation. She's 14, makes her a senior citizen here.
She opens with a full twisting double back and right back to a full twisting back handspring. That's kind of a new trend in gymnastics, tumbling in both directions, one right after the other. I've been really impressed with her in this competition. She did have a low-scoring compulsory beam, which temporarily dropped her to 15th. She moved all the way up to 4th yesterday in the compulsories. And she looks excellent.
This is one of the many very bright hopes for the future of women's gymnastics, and at the risk of being redundant, I think you're going to hear that an awful lot tonight.
And the middle tumbling run is a whip back due to a high double full. Of all the juniors here, she has probably the most polish. Everything is finished and complete. She shows every movement. She's coached by Bella and Marta Caroli, along with Rick Newman. Rick Caroli's in Houston.
Interesting enough, she talked so much about wanting to go to Caroli's that her father finally said, I don't want you to mention that man's name in my house. Obviously, she mentioned it one time enough.
Oh, tuck double back. She stumbles back. And yes, she stepped out of bounds. I saw the judge lift the yellow flag. That's going to be a 1/10 of a point deduction for going out of bounds, and probably 2/10 of a point if they want to be real nasty on the two-step back.
And gets the customary hug from her coach, Bella Caroli, who incidentally has a microphone on tonight. We'll hear from him. Another look.
Well, take a look at the first pass. She has so much speed on her run, and she gets so much power. Lift off the floor, clean twist, pulls that second tuck somersault around. And then she rebounds and goes right into another pass, a full twisting back handspring.
So her only problem coming at the end, and here is a look at that.
Here's where the problem was. Really a shame, because the routine was great up to this point. She does a tuck double back, It's nice and high. She pulls it around too far. Legs are separated, and see, she tries to get her foot behind her to stop. And I actually, to be quite honest, I don't think she went out of bounds. It looked like she was right at the line.
Actually, I don't think it was the rear foot that she had. It was her right foot that went out of bounds, I believe. At least that's the way I saw it when it happened. She is not very happy right now. Right at the moment, incidentally, after the first performance, which we just saw, there is customarily a conference of judges. That's the reason for a little bit of a delay. Let's talk, Kathy, about the scoring here tonight.
Well, this is new this year, and it's really going to separate the great gymnasts from good gymnasts. You see there, the value parts, which are the basic value parts of A, B, C, and D, are worth 3.0. The combination or the construction of the exercise is 1.5. And the ever-important execution, these are the form deductions, execution errors, are worth 5.1, giving you a total of 9.6. Now, look here. Bonus points are worth 0.4 of a point. The only way you can get bonus is for original elements or combinations and having an extra D element, which is 0.1 of a point. The originality is 0.3. Not all the gymnasts have that, so their starting value score might not be out of a 10. It could be out of a 9, 6, 7, or 8.
Now, is the reason for that and the reason for that change being made because of the fact that simply the 10-point system as we knew it before was just starting to get outdated because the gymnasts have advanced so much?
As so many people remember at the Olympics, they saw a large number of 10-0s. This will help give the judges a tool that they can separate the really great routines from the good routines.
We're still looking at Amy Scher, and we still await her score, and we will give it to you as soon as we get it. Remember, there is a conference after the first performer, and that is the reason, once again, for the delay. Meanwhile, you're taking a look at the vault. That is taking place right in front of us. And
Shannon Miller will be doing a layout full twisting Yurchenko, which is a round-off vault. I'm sure everybody's become accustomed to this new vault. It's a round off onto the board, back handspring to the horse. Then she's going to do a layout somersault with a full twist.
Shannon Miller, big news in these parts. She lives just up the road in Edmond, Oklahoma. And she has been on every news show, in every newspaper. A lot of pressure on this young lady.
Well, she won the first qualifying meet, which really puts her in good standings with the judges. They know all about her.
Shannon Miller and her teammates, as you can see, taking a good long look here.
With the revolution of the vault event, going to the round-off vaults, it's really made it possible for the very small gymnasts to do well on vault.
Small gymnast is also redundant. You know, the average height here of all these competitors, kind of interesting, is 4'7", and the average weight is 78 pounds. Does wonders for guys like Bart Connor and I. We really get to look down on, I don't mean look down literally, but look down figuratively on people.
It's really hard on the gymnasts that go up second. As we said earlier, the first routine the judges conference on, and you have to stand there and wait your turn.
Actually, I mean look down literally and not figuratively. Just want to set the record straight there. These are very nice young ladies. And this is Shannon Miller.
This score will be judged out of a 10.0. Particularly for a short gymnast, she got a lot of distance and a lot of height. She was a tiny bit off center, which is, of course is a deduction, and then she had the step backwards. Amy Scher scored a 9.1 on the floor exercise. Now you can see she's a little off center, actually onto the horse, and when she twists, she moves even farther to the right. It's not much of a deduction, but it is a slight deduction. Good speed onto the horse, and her form is pretty good in the air. Now in vaulting, in the all-around competition, the gymnast does 2 different vaults. They may repeat the same vault, and the best score of the 2 counts.
So Shannon Miller awaits her score. She was in 5th place after the compulsories, and remember, once again, we'll tell you that the compulsories count 50%. 2 vaults in this competition.
And her first vault was a 9.475. She's repeating the same vault. Again, a round-off layout full. She's going to try and improve on the direction and also stick the landing. Good on flight. Oh! Little bit slow on the rotation. She was actually short on the horse, which means she was on the front end of the horse. And whenever you're on that position, it's really difficult to snap your legs down hard enough to get the rotation going. Right here, see, front end, and she doesn't get her legs snapping down soon enough. and it slows the rotation down. Of course, she'll take the first vault.
There's one more look.
Right here, the leg should be snapping down, and they just don't do it.
So she just doesn't improve on her first vault is the bottom line of all that.
9.475 is a good score for her to start with.
Shannon Miller, just by way of comparison, had a not-so-good vault in the compulsories. She scored just a 9. So she has improved greatly from that tonight in the optionals. We go to the floor exercise next, and Kim Zmeskal, who literally has a 0.5 of a point lead on the field and loves this particular discipline.
Kim gets to start on her favorite event. It should be very good. She can score high on this event and start her off strong in this competition. As we said earlier, she has a very secure lead going into the optionals. It's almost 0.5 of a point.
Before we start, we will tell you that Bella Caroli is mic'd with a wireless microphone, and we're going to eavesdrop on him during Kim Zmeskal's performance here.
Go normal.
It's a very international sounding song. Piked full twisting double back. Excellent. You can't do it much better than that. This music will play very well internationally.
There's a look at Bella. Shannon Miller, 9.475 on a vault. That was her first vault, and of course she'll take that. Teacher and student.
Kim is a tremendous vault tumbler. Watch this middle tumbling run. A whip back, through a double back, and it's way up in the air. The only thing she could really work on here is trying to keep those toes pointed all the time. It's a stronger toe point. And her last tumbling run, look how much energy she has at the end. A tuck double back. Excellent routine. What was really important about this routine is she stopped every landing of the tumbling passes.
That was a good work. Good work.
And she got the grade A hug from Bella. Bella liked it, and I'm sure Kim liked it. Let's take another look at her first pass here.
This is a really clean full twisting double back. Nice height off the floor. Good clean twist. Pulls it around. A little straddle on that last pike.
And the last pass.
I'm amazed at how much energy she has at the end of the tumbling run.
So we await the score of Kim Zmeskal. Obviously, she liked the routine, and Bella loved the routine. And this can only, at worst, keep her where she is.
Good landing at the end. Okay, you control it at the end.
Now remember, at the beginning we showed you the scoring system. She will definitely have her bonus points here.
Still waiting for her score.
Should score very well. The only thing that will be tough here is she went up first on this event. And sometimes the scores tend to be a little bit low at the beginning, but
9.65. Excellent for Kim Zmeskal. And she will retain the position that she held coming in to these optionals. Now let's take you back to Norman. Track and Zmeskal is in the #1 spot. Amanda Uherek in the #2 spot. Shannon Miller and Amy Scher rounding out the top 4. The only one to drop out of the top 4 as we go back to yesterday's scores in the compulsories. Erica Stokes, who has dropped down just a little bit into 5th place. Meanwhile, just a few moments ago, Kim Zmeskal on the bars had a bit of a problem, Kathy.
And first on vault, she came out with a 9.575, but watch right here. She does a pike double somersault and puts her hands down. It's a major mistake.
So how much will that cost her, and what will it do to her lead?
Well, it's a 0.5 of a point deduction, and she ended up with a 9.225.
We're now back live watching Amy Scher on the bars.
This is a nice reverse. Major deduction, 0.5 of a point deduction. It's really going to hurt her, and it's so hard to get back into the swing of your routine.
This is the 7th rotation, and again.
And a second fall.
Oh, my.
I'm very surprised at this. I watched her work out, and she was very consistent in the workouts. Setting up for a dismount, 2 giant swings to a tuck double back dismount. What a shame, missed both of her release moves, the reverse heck as well as the ginger.
And of course, that will cost her a great deal.
That's a full point deduction right there.
No, that's not good.
There's no way she's going to stay in the top at this point.
You have to go aggressive on it. Catch it, go, do it. You blocked out.
Now you'll see what happens right here. She's very aggressive going into the reverse heck, but going back for the bar. Just couldn't get her hands on the bar.
And that look tells you everything you need to know. Very disappointing, and certainly she will drop way down. Earlier in this same rotation, and we should mention this is the 7th rotation, 3rd of tonight, 7th overall. Here's Amanda Uherek a few moments ago.
And before a floor exercise, she did a great balance beam routine for a 9.5. And look at here, she does a full twisting double back. Very impressed with this gymnast. She has a lot of difficulty in all her routines. And with a little more polish, she'll be right up there. The bird music.
That's right.
She needed a 9.825 on this routine to take the lead. That's a tall order.
Yes, it is. But it has shown some of these other competitors that Kim Zmeskal is at least human. For Scher, 8.35 a moment ago on the bar certainly will plunge her well down.
Well, just like in the compulsory rotation, the leaders switched off every single rotation with shows strength and weaknesses. Ended with a double back. Full twisting back handspring.
She comes down toward the end. 13-year-old from Livonia, Michigan.
So she's already done a full in, a whip through to a double back, and ends with another double back. A little bit low on the landing, so that'll be a slight deduction.
But by and large, a pretty good performance for Amanda Uherek. And there is her score, 9.425. And that will move her up while Amy Scher goes in the other direction. All of a sudden, things are tightening up. We'll be back. 13 years old from Hudson, Michigan.
She's coached by Bella and Marta Caroli and also Rick Newman. Trains in Houston. Kelly's been very steady in the competition after round 6. She's in 6th place.
Her first year on the junior team, that can be said about a lot of the competitors here.
A lot of new faces here in this competition. She was 5th all around in the 2nd qualifying meet and 6th on the floor exercise, which we're about to see her on right here.
Another one of Bella Caroli's charges. And you have an idea any one of, or number of people working with him right now can really emerge between now and 1992. He feels actually that this is his best group of, we'll call them students, because that's what they are right at the moment. There's Bella.
Well, that's what I said was so fun about this competition. Every single rotation, the leaders change because of their strengths, their weaknesses, and a little bit of inexperience as well. She opens with a pike double back. Most of the girls are doing full twisting double back, so that's a little bit weak as an opening. Did it quite well. Full twisting front handspring. Nice, unique move. Now, on all the events, there are special requirements, and we just saw one, the 3 dance elements in a row, or a gymnastics series. If they don't have the special requirements, it's a 10th of a point deduction for each one missing. She does a tuck double back. She's a little bit weak in her tumbling. She needs more of a variety in her tumbling passes. That's also a requirement. 3 different tumbling runs. That was her mixed acrobatic series, combining dance and gymnastics. Preparing for her 3rd tumbling run. Double twist. Everything was very clean, but she didn't have the difficulty level that most of the girls have here.
So as a result, not likely to score up in the highest range, but what she did well. Kelly Pitzen.
At the beginning of the show, when we talked about the bonus points, this is where they can separate these gymnasts.
So came out of this, huh? All right.
She doesn't have the difficulty or the originality, so she won't get those bonus points.
A look at her first pass, Kathy.
As I said, she is nice and clean. She does the elements well, just not that difficult. Slight knee bend there, but a good landing.
So Kelly Pitzen with some of her teammates awaiting her score.
Now, from some of the top competitors, we've seen 9.5s and 9.6s on this event. This will probably score in the lower 9s.
So she just needs to basically do more.
Right, exactly. Work on her difficulty. As we said, these kids are so young. They've got a lot of time to work on their weaknesses.
Yeah, all of these kids seem to be 12, 13 years old maximum. And of course, we're looking down the road 3 years from now. It's some conversation that a woman gymnast, and you can speak to this actually, peaks at about age 16. Present company, of course, accepted.
Of course. She actually got a decent score, a 9.4 for that routine.
You look at Shannon Miller now as she prepares for her balance beam routine.
And she has done a remarkable job in the optionals. Started on actually her weakest event on vault. Moved up, and she's now in 3rd place going into balance beam.
Listen to that music in the background. I'm looking for Alex Trebek. The music from Jeopardy. Shannon Miller, as we mentioned, as you see a judges conference going on here, and that's what the music is about.
And we're looking at a judges conference here. What they do is they go over the deductions of the routine, but more importantly, since the new rules, they're really checking to make sure that everyone saw that they had the special requirements or the bonus points. So that might have been where the discrepancy is.
That's Muriel Grossfeld.
It's always nerve-wracking to have a judges conference right before you go up.
And meanwhile, Shannon Miller has to cool her heels for a little while here, and that's difficult. She was incidentally the subject of the lead story in the news tonight here, the local news. We mentioned she's from Edmond, Oklahoma, just up the road.
It's really nice to hear the support from the crowd for the local girls.
For one day only, she finished ahead of World Affairs.
Now she needs a 9.625 to take 2nd place at this point and a 10 to get 1st.
This will give you a pretty good idea of just how easy this is. Try this in your backyard if you want a few laughs.
This is about what you see when you're working balance beam. Back handspring to 2 feet. There's her gymnastics series. 2 dance elements in a row. It's a requirement. Aerial cartwheel. Now Shannon can do a full twisting double back dismount. I don't know if she's planning on doing it here. It's a very difficult dismount that's rarely done. Back handspring to 2 layout step outs, a perfect landing and a smile on her face. I'd be smiling too. It's a tough pass and she did it well.
She stands to move up in the competition with a good performance here.
She's been moving up all day. She needs a little more work on those feet, pointing your toes all the time. Here's her dismount. Round off double back. Playing it a little safe here. Took the step on the landing. But that's an excellent beam routine for her.
Very good routine. She gets a big hug. Another one of those grade A hugs. Obviously, she did a good job. Shannon Miller on the balance beam. So the performance starts to tighten here, and we'll take you back up top of the Marriott Arena to Jim Kelly. I'm going to go work on my balance beam routine. Jim?
We've been enjoying those performances, Barry, and Bella's girls are doing great. We'll have more gymnastics and diving when we come back.
Just 1 rotation to go, and Kim Zmeskal has backed up just a little bit, but Shannon Miller, of course, will have to do better than good to catch her. Amanda Uherek in 3rd place, Erica Stokes, Kelly Pitzen in 5th place, and look what happened to Amy Scher, the result of falling off the bars on 2 occasions. She has dropped all the way back, tied for the number 8 spot, but there is still a bit of a race Kelly Pitzen moved up a great deal. We're going to take you to the vault now. And on the vault, the first competitor is Amanda Uherek. I beg your pardon.
No, they're still warming up.
That's right. These are still the warm-ups. That was just a warm-up. Thank you.
Shannon Miller has done an outstanding job moving up. She scored a 9.625 on balance beam and moved ahead of Amanda, but only by 0.025. The competition has stayed very, very close throughout both days of competition. In fact, they've even closed a little bit on the leader.
And Kim Zmeskal with that error on the bars a few moments ago, which you saw. This is the 8th and final rotation. Remember, 4 rotations here tonight, 4 rotations yesterday in the compulsories, and that comprises the complete all-around event. Looking at some of the crowd here at the Marriott Arena, and it's been a very knowledgeable gymnastics crowd. Here's a little bit of history of Bella Caroli, and every one of those names more than recognizable. Nadia Comaneci back in 1976 and again in 1980. Mary Lou Rett in 1984. Julianne McNamara, bronze medal in 1984. Gold medal, rather. Bronze medal for Phoebe Mills before she retired. And now this is his latest crop. And another outstanding group of athletes has Bella Caroli in his camp back in Houston.
And as I said yesterday, it's really exciting for the festival watchers that they're probably looking at the future 1992 Olympians, just as we saw Phoebe Mills, who went on to win a bronze medal at the Olympic Games in '88 on the balance beam. She competed right here at the festival.
Interesting story with Bella Caroli. It cost, of course, a lot of money to attend his camp, and Hillary Grivich, who lives in Huntsville, Texas, her dad is a poet, and he tutors the kids at Bella Caroli's camp, and that's how he pays for Hillary's way to attend.
Now, Amanda is planning to do a round-off layout vault. It's only scored from a 9.70, so she's got to really strive for perfection. That's actually a pike. I don't know what the judges are going to do with that.
Be careful, you hit it toward the end.
Because if they decide to see it as a pike, they're going to score it from a 9.5, which is what it's worth, and take a deduction for calling the wrong vault. See, right here, she goes into the layout, but then pikes so much to get around. I'd actually call that a pike vault. And 2 huge steps at the end. Be interesting to see what the judges do with this. Amanda doesn't quite have the power of some of the other gymnasts that we see here. She's short on the front end of the horse, tries to get her chest around, but right there just has to severely pike.
Well, she'll have a chance for redemption, regardless of her score. Remember, the best of 2 vaults is the final mark.
And she has the same vault flashed, so she's going to try and do the layout again. Yes, and I see the scores coming up. They're 8.7s.
So that was her first vault. Now she will have another, and she'll take the best of the 2, which you have to expect would be the one coming up. So a lot of pressure on this young lady right now.
This is going to cause some problems for her in the all-around. She's really got to try and maintain the layout position. It's a little bit better. They'll probably give her the layout, but then they'll take off for a severe pike down. But she didn't grab her legs that time. It was open, so therefore they might give her the layout position.
Well, Bella quick with a word of encouragement. Another look, Kathy.
She's much better onto the horse. See, up on top of the horse, better laid out position, but still, that's a definite pike in there.
So she needed a lot, and whether she got enough remains to be seen. That is Amanda Uherek. And they are tabulating her score at the moment, and we will have that score for you when we come back to the Marriott Arena and the women's Stokes.
And Erica Stokes has maintained her position near the top. She began in 3rd position going into finals tonight, but she's now in 4th place after round 7. She's almost 0.5 of a point out of 3rd. So that's a hard margin to make up.
She has the facial look of a young Julianne McNamara.
She has a very intense look, and I think this is why she's one of Bella's favorites. He really likes her work and her concentration. Beautiful position. Press to handstand, lowers to planche. They have to show at least a 45-degree angle there to get credit. Here's her gymnastics series requirement, 2 leaps in a row. She could have shown more split in the air. 2 back handsprings, lay out, step out, nice and clean, and a good landing.
Right now she is in 4th place. Looking up at Amanda Uherek, but with a good opportunity to move ahead of her.
There's her gymnastics acrobatic series. You combine an acrobatic move with a dance element. It has to be directly connected. If that's missing, it's a 1/10 of a point deduction. That is a gorgeous move. Shushanova did that in the Olympic Games. It's a full twisting back handspring down, and she actually does it better than Elena did. It's a tough move. I can't tell you how difficult that move is. I wouldn't do it. Really nice work here on the balance beam. She has an excellent look. Round off double twist, and not very difficult dismount, but she is one of the most technically perfect gymnasts here.
She will need, if my numbers are right, she will need a 9.425 to move past Amanda Uherek into 3rd place.
Good job.
Here's another look.
This is a great move. It is so difficult. She does a full twist in the air, finishes just in time to do a chest roll down onto the beam. I don't need to tell you what happens when you're a little bit off. That hurts.
Yes.
And the dismount, a round off double twist. Eventually, she'd like to get a little more difficulty here on the dismount. And it's a great beam routine.
And she is obviously happy with it. She awaits her score now because she can move up a position here. Could move into the top 3 with a good score. My numbers tell me 9.425, and that is purely unofficial. Amy Scher will be next on the beam, and she's coming off a very disappointing routine on bars a moment ago, so she's going to have to gather herself up.
Yes, she had 2 falls off the uneven bars.
Competition will come down to Shannon Miller and Kim Zmeskal. It is not out of the question for Shannon Miller yet, who will be in this final rotation in her best discipline, that being floor exercise. And Kim Zmeskal has to come off a tough bars routine onto the balance beam. Conference going on. And it's a conference that really has a profound effect on Erica Stokes.
It's boiled down to a really great competition between Shannon and Kim. It's much closer than I even thought it would be beginning this competition today.
Yeah, you were saying that Kim Zmeskal really did basically have to fall, and she virtually did that.
But Shannon's done a terrific job. In fact, she started out today on her weakest event, scored a 9.475, which is great for her, and moved up.
Conference continues, and this one very important, of course, because we again talked about the significance of the junior national championships. Let's talk a little bit more about that. What does it really all mean in the great scheme of things?
Probably the most important thing here is the ranking. This will rank the gymnasts for a full year till the next championships, and also help select them for international competition. So that's why we're seeing a lot of conferences. They're really making sure that they rank these gymnasts properly.
Well, in the men's competition last night, we told you that there were already 3 spots for the World Championship team named, and there are still 3 to come, and so that was the motivation there, and there's even more motivation here, I think, because these are young gymnasts who are just now stepping into the lineup. There is her score, 9.675. That is very good, and according to my unofficial calculations, that will move her ahead of Amanda Uherek into 3rd place. But it does mean that it comes down now to Kim Zmeskal and Shannon Miller. Erica Stokes, every reason to be proud. Right now, though, she and the crowd here at the Marriott Arena will focus their attention on the floor exercise routine of Shannon Miller. Now, this is probably her best event, the floor exercise. And as we mentioned, Kim Zmeskal is on what might be her most difficult. Last-minute word from her coach, and Shannon Miller is set to go. As you see, she was first in the floor exercise of the American Classic earlier this year.
I think Shannon definitely had the luck of the draw here. She actually had the Olympic rotation. She started on vault, went to bars, beam, and now is ending on floor. And as you said, it's her best event, so she's got an opportunity for a real high score here. And of course, Kim awaiting to do a balance beam routine. And again, she's coming off of, like you said, that tough bar routine.
Her heart has got to be beating like a hummingbird right now.
I've seen her in competition, though. She's very good in competition, very steady, very solid.
And she has the added pressure, remember, of being before the home folk.
A piked, full twisting double back. She's just really on today. Full twisting back handspring. She can relax a little bit here. She has nothing to lose. She's going to go all out, try and catch the leader. 2 whip overs through to a double twist punch front. Good tumbling.
Listen to the crowd.
Back handspring to her hands, pirouettes. Now that was her gym acro series. She did a double turn right into a back handspring. Again, it has to be directly connected. She needs a little bit of work on her dance. She gets a little sloppy with her feet and her positions. But that can come in time and a lot of hard work.
Now, time is definitely the ally of just about everyone we've seen tonight. No exception here.
Last tumbling run. A double back. Oh, no. I thought she was in trouble coming off on the takeoff. Very slow getting her arms up into that double back. Had trouble on the rotation. That's so unfortunate. She had a great routine up to that point.
Could very likely cost her the overall championship.
Take a look at her first pass. I was amazed on this pass. She actually tumbles very low to the ground, even considering her height. Head's very close to the floor there. This is a really pretty pass. She does 2 whip overs through to a double twist, punch front. That was probably her best pass of the routine.
Now, how much will the bobble at the end cost her? Here it is.
That's a fall. 5/10 of a point deduction. Oh, just can't get it around. Ran out of gas. She covered well.
Yeah, very nice recovery.
That's definitely an improvisation.
But you saw her eyes go. She needs a 9-2 to stay ahead of Erica Stokes. So Erica Stokes, with that fine balance beam performance, might not have only moved into 3rd place, but could conceivably have moved into 2nd place. High drama here. Here's Jim Kelly. Barry Tompkins with Kathy Johnson. And for all intent, Kim Zmeskal has won the competition here, barring the totally unforeseen. But Erica Stokes really is kind of the story of this rotation.
She has just remained solid throughout the competition and moved herself right back up. I was just saying to you earlier that this has been one of the craziest competitions I've watched. I've never seen so many changes in order, in places. Every single rotation it changes.
Shannon Miller 9-1 in her floor exercise. And what that means is not only it's a double negative for her, not only does she not catch Kim Zmeskal for first, Erica Stokes, again, as we mentioned, going away to Jim Kelly, with her 9.675 on the balance beam, she now moves ahead of Shannon Miller. So Shannon Miller has actually dropped down into 3rd place. Erica Stokes is 2nd, and Kim Zmeskal, as she was at the beginning of tonight, the only constant, is in 1st place.
And she is on a pressure event right here. This is not the ideal situation to end on balance beam. 2 layout step outs. But as I said earlier, she's tough in competition. I was very surprised she had that miss on uneven bars. So I know she's coming back with a vengeance here on beam.
Difficult task coming off and having to forget a misfortune not that long ago and coming up to what has to be considered your hardest event.
2 leaps in a row. That's her gymnastics series. She's moving quite well right now. She only needs an 8.885 to win on balance beam. But you never know what's going to happen on beam. And the dismount, round off, double back, just a 1 step on the ending. I know she's done it.
Well, that should be good enough.
All right, little piggy.
No, never
Well, that'll tell you that the winner of this competition is going to be Kim Zmeskal.
No, you're a competitor now.
She draws the plaudits of her coach, Bella Caroli, and Bella Caroli's troops, as we might have expected, have done a tremendous job today. So Zmeskal wins it, and Erica Stokes right now is second. Zmeskal, Jim, was on the beam. You got it.
Thank you, Barry, and thank you.
That's it. Here's the results. Kim Zmeskal wins it. Erica Stokes finishes second. Shannon Miller finishes third. Kathy, we talked at the very beginning of all of this that this could be the future of women's gymnastics. Has it been?
Oh, this is definitely the future. Erica and Shannon did a terrific job today. And if Erica gets a little more difficulty, she'll be giving Kim a run for her money.
We will take you now from Oklahoma City down to Norman. Find out how the tracksters and fieldsters did with Ron Franklin. Ron.
American